Hey guys, welcome to our next revision strategy. More is more. Adding details to make your essays like the Blackhawks, world champs. So, what have we talked about already? We've looked at writing, and writing being a process. It's not something that you just write down once, hand in, and you're done with it. But because that first attempt is never perfect, you can always improve on it. You can always make it better. So we've learned that revision is the way we go about doing that. And we've learned a couple of revision strategies already. We learned number one is use those sentence patterns that we worked on all first semester to get that variety, to get that dynamics within our writing. And then we learned revision strategy two, proofreading, and making sure that we don't have those simple, easily correctable errors in our writing. If we do just those two things, we're going to be off to a really, really good start. But now we want to look at getting our essays even better, beyond just a good start. So let me ask you this. I'm going to give you a couple of pairs of sentences, and I want you to tell me which one is better. Okay, one, the rain ruined our picnic. Or two, the dark clouds built overhead as we rushed to pack up our picnic supplies. Before we could make it to the car, the rain began to fall in buckets from the sky. Clearly here, number two is better. Let's get rid of those. Bring in another one. Hemingway wrote in such a way that the reader has to interpret the meaning beneath the words, a style that has earned him a Pulitzer Prize and the Nobel Prize. Or this one. Hemingway wrote in a unique style and has won prestigious awards. Clearly in this instance, A is better. Why? Why are 2 and A better in this example? So, they show instead of tell. Well, what does that mean? The dark clouds built, that's showing us instead of the rain. And we're going to talk more about that in a second. But what else do? They are specific. The Pulitzer Prize and the Nobel Prize are very specific awards versus prestigious awards. Well, which prestigious awards? We want to know, and we're told the specific ones there. And then lastly, they use figurative language. In number 2, for example, the rain fell in buckets. That's an example of a metaphor. So that all leads us to our next revision strategy, detail, and adding detail to what we write. Right? So, how do I add detail? Well, a couple of different ways. Ways number one, you show instead of tell. How do you show instead of tell? Well, you answer the question why or how. For instance, I could tell you that my brother is talented. Okay, that's telling. How is he talented? Or why is he talented? Well, he won the Stanley Cup and he's great at the banjo. So now I'm going to show you. After tallying 10 assists, scoring 9 goals, and winning the Conn Smythe Trophy, my brother composed a song called the Stanley Cup Shuffle. It's a really great song. Right? So now I'm showing you, I'm giving you examples within the context of this writing, instead of just saying that he's talented. So show instead of tell. Another example. Here's one from Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find. It's a short story. Telling would be the grandmother loves her cat. But showing, the grandmother didn't intend for the cat to be left alone in the house for 3 days because he would miss her too much and she was afraid he might brush against one of the gas burners and accidentally asphyxiate himself. Right? The grandmother's obsession with this cat is her love for it. So I'm showing you. You're also getting a lot of other information about this grandmother if she's worried that a cat is going to suffocate on or kill itself on the gas by turning the gas on. But that's neither here nor there. It's about the grandmother loving the cat, right? So you can show instead of tell. How else can you add detail? Well, you can be specific. How do I be specific? Well, general language describes large categories, whereas specific language is describing those individual items or actions. And those individual things are what we are trying to get at. Look at this chart, for example. General language, food, that's a large category. Well, what did you have for lunch today? Food. That's not really helpful. Did you have dairy, meat, or plants? Oh, I had plants. Oh, great. What kind of plants? Grains, fruits, or vegetables? Well, I had some vegetables today. Yeah, roots, pods, or greens. Well, I had some green vegetables. Oh, spinach, collards, or lettuce. Oh, I had lettuce today. Oh, did you have iceberg, butter crunch, or romaine? Well, clearly butter crunch, because that's the most delicious. But as you work down this particular chart, we get more specific. So instead of saying I had food or I had plants for lunch, you could say I had butter crunch lettuce with Caesar dressing and eggplant, right? Much more specific, much more detailed. Another example. Here's one from same story. Flannery O'Connor is a good man is hard to find. A general statement. Bailey was reading the paper. More specific. Bailey was sitting on the edge of his chair at the table, bent over the orange sports section of the journal, right? And notice in this example, there's a proofreading error. Do you know what it is? Journal. It's the name of a newspaper, so it should be in italics. But anyway, that's more specific. It's more specific where he's doing, what he's doing, and what section of the paper, the sports, that he's reading. So getting those specific details in there. So we're going to play a quick game. I'm going to give you a category, or give you a couple of options, and you're going to choose which one is most specific. Hammer, tool, hardware. This one's pretty straightforward. Hammer is the most specific. What about this one? Gems, diamond, or jewelry? Diamond is the most specific here. What about this? Washing machine, electrical appliance, or household convenience? The washing machine is the most specific. It falls within those other categories. Here we go. Let's look at this one. Difficulty is the first year of college. Overscheduling in college. Problems in college. Which one is most specific? This one is tricky. Overscheduling. Overscheduling is a specific difficulty in the first year of college. Now, it doesn't say first year in college, but that one is the most specific item. So, let's look at this one. Buying a car, accepting the burdens of an independent life, or undertaking a major financial commitment. Which one is most specific? Buying a car. Again, falling within those categories. Even though it's short and sweet, it's more specific. Specific doesn't necessarily mean long. It just means specific. Okay. So we've shown instead of told. We've been more specific. How else do you add detail? Well, you can use figurative language, right? Make a comparison, such as a simile or a metaphor. She had a deep, throaty, genuine laugh, like that sound a dog makes just before it throws up. Right? Or you can use personification. The Coca-Cola bears nearly fumbled that bottle of Coke. Bears can't fumble. Bears have excellent hands. Lastly, onomatopoeia, right? The grumble of my stomach tells me it's time to eat, etc., etc. There are tons of different types of figurative language. These are just some examples. All right, one final thought. Be cautious about being too specific. You don't want to overdo it. Many uneducated citizens who never attended school continue to vote for better schools. Well, we don't need that who have never attended school, because that's what uneducated means. They don't have an education. They didn't go to school. So we don't need to double up on details. We need to make sure we have just enough, but not too many. And the way we do that is make sure each detail that you give has purpose. Maybe it's describing a character if you're writing a short story, or it's supporting a claim if you're making an argument, or it's completing your thought. Those are, make sure details that you add is doing one of those things. Okay, practice. You have 2 slides of practice, and they're both on your sheet, so make sure you fill them out. For this one, make sure you replace the words in all caps with more appropriate details. So instead of telling me that Charlie is tired, show me. Instead of telling that Gabrielle is the most beautiful child in the family, show. So this is a show versus tell exercise. Okay? That's this one. And then on this slide, well, it says in your pod, but clearly you're doing this at home. So in your mind, And then on the sheet of paper, write an incredibly detailed paragraph with the following non-specific opening sentence. My English teacher is mean. Use that show, don't tell, be specific, and use figurative language. The meaner, the better. And if you feel badly writing about your specific English teacher, because your English teacher is very, very kind and very, very intelligent, you feel free to change that opening sentence to, that dude who does these grammar videos is mean. Regardless, show, don't tell, be specific, figurative language, incorporate those details. Good luck.